So we are here in Las Vegas at the Mandalay Bay for the first ever live KOTC Qualifier. So our good friends at Adrenaline Worldwide were hosting their annual event here at Mandalay Bay, and they invited us to bring some form of Kings of the Concrete to Las Vegas. Some people were warming up for the preliminary qualifier tonight, and other people are just throwing down just because they're in town and they can. But already mind-boggling shit. We're 30 minutes into it and seeing stuff that we didn't expect to see or think was going to go down.
It's been hectic. I mean, we were approached to join this not even that long ago, and originally we were just going to bring a parkour setup out and just have a good time. And then we kind of thought, whoa, we could do a qualifier here in Vegas. It could be pretty cool and epic. And yeah, so we threw together a course real quick, a heavy course, and brought it out here and tried to get as many people as we could to come out and compete and try to get a spot for Kings of the Concrete.
All right, cool. So we're gonna do the pre-qualifier. You guys know that. Pretty simple format. Basically, the course is getting split up into 2 sections, just so you guys can see. The first section is gonna be the slant wall over, just all this stuff. And then the second section is slant wall over that way. Okay, yeah, simple. Did you guys all know what I'm talking about? So the first section is going to be, Nate, you know. First section is gonna be the slant wall over this way.
Yeah.
Second section is gonna be slant wall over this way. Okay. So there's 2 heats right now. 5 athletes in one, 5 athletes in the other heat. They get 5 minutes on one section, and then they're gonna switch to the next section and do 5 minutes there. In those 5 minutes, they're just basically doing like an ordered jam. So they're gonna stay in their lineup. When it's the next person up, they go do a combo or a single trick, and then they get back in line, and whoever's next up goes. And so it's just like, it just rotates like this, you know what I mean? They stay in order. They're allowed to fail. They can even if it's their turn and they're not ready, they like go up to the wall and they test like the wall and they're like, oh wait, no, it felt weird. They go back in line, they don't do the trick. It doesn't count against them. You guys are just getting an overall impression off of the stuff they land.
All right, if nobody has any other questions, then break. We're good?
Cool, yeah. Thank you guys for coming.
Right. Yeah, hey, thank you guys for doing this shit. So the tricky thing about Vegas for us was we kind of didn't know what to expect as far as the turnout goes. We didn't know if there'd be a lot of people here on the fan side. We didn't know if there was any athletes going to come to compete. So we were really unsure whether or not we would even be able to get an athlete out of this that could go and compete at KOTC. What was really cool is like the final days coming up to this qualifier, we found out things like, yo, Kaylin Chan's coming. We're like, oh, so there's people that are coming that they want the spot. They're not just coming to compete for fun. They want that spot at KOTC too.
Basically, it's like a jam format, so you have a lineup of athletes. They have to stay in order. They get about 6 minutes to just session a section of the course, and it's just single tricks, combos. You're kind of trying to show off, you're trying to one-up everybody else, and it's just really fun. It's kind of pressure-free. Again, it just feels like you're doing parkour with your homies. You can always tell right off the bat who's kind of here to win. There's a couple athletes here who came solely for the reason to try to qualify for Kings of the Concrete, so they're throwing down pretty hard. You also have the people who came to jam with their friends and have fun time at the event, but they want to participate, and that's really cool. There's respect in just competing for the experience, for the fun of it, and just being a part of what's happening here. Well, competing is very interesting because you can bring so many different things to the table. There's obviously the really big tricks, but For example, last year we had Kevin Frunzen, who made it to the finals. And even though Kevin has big tricks, he was up against some athletes who maybe had bigger tricks. But what we kept hearing people talk about was the way Kevin would land his moves or finish his runs, or just the confidence and style he had while he was moving. You'll see it with Say. He can stick a trick and he kind of lands and he like almost holds a pose and like gives a nod to the audience and the judges that like, yeah, I can land that all day. You know what I mean? And so there's like a confidence that you start to see, or you just feel from his movement. You're like, oh, he is definitely polished. He's definitely ready to compete. But then you have people like Kalen who, again, brings like unique connections and combos and tricks, and in a different way shows his competence and his confidence.
Whoever makes it through to KOTC 2 is gonna be a top-notch athlete. There was not gonna be an easy making it through. Even though it's a smaller 8-man bracket, we knew, it was still gonna be work for everybody.
Experience definitely matters. I mean, we were just talking to Corey DeMeyers, who is a world champion, and he was even just saying weird little tips and tricks about how you can build the line to almost make the psychology of the judge remember you better. And I mean, like I said, Kalen is a very experienced competitor, and you can definitely tell. That being said, though, you have someone like Say, who I just said hasn't really competed in the major competitions, who doesn't seem to affect him.
I mean, that dude was throwing stuff just going so big. Every time he went, the crowd was up.
Kalen was telling me that if he makes it to the finals, he's gonna do his hardest comp run ever. And so there's a good chance he's sending some stuff he could bail on and it'll go to Say, but if it goes according to plan, I think Kalen has a good chance of making it.
Sometimes I try to be more strategic and try to make sure I win, but this time I just really wanted to do a line that would push the sport more. So I knew I was taking a risk, and unfortunately this time the risk wasn't in my favor.
I am glad Kalen went back and got the redemption on the double conch gainer, because that was so sick. He was so hyped. And I guess when you mess up a move in one of your runs, it's like kind of the worst feeling as an athlete. So if you can get the redemption, even if it's not in your run, it's a good feeling. So
Colin, kind of big mistakes, so I think me, but still my inside, please, I hope.
First up, Salt Lake City, Utah, Caleb Chan. Next, from Yokohama, Japan, Sei Asakura.
Having everybody come around to be a part of this vibe and to help like kind of push what we're doing forward, but also elevate the sport in a place that doesn't usually interact with our sport, amongst some of the sickest trickers in the world and sickest martial artists in the world. It just became this dope ball of energy.
I don't know, seeing people in person compete at Kings of the Concrete or at one of the qualifiers and be out here at the event, and they have a good time, they throw down, like, I don't know, it feels good. Everybody's just usually pretty happy and stoked about it. And at the end of the day, that's kind of the goal. And I think everybody here competing makes parkour look really good. So yeah, all we can do is try our best to do the same.